First up is a secret weapon that is actually OP because of its hidden effect. Now, we all know that the open hand monk is one of the strongest builds in the game, but what if I told you there's a way to make it even stronger? A way to make its attacks ignore resistance to bludgeoning damage, which all of the attacks you're punching, with your open hand, is bludgeoning damage. This is all possible thanks to an item called the Adamantine Mace. Now, this mace causes your bludgeoning damage to ignore resistance, even if you're not actually using it to make your attacks. Now, to do this, you'll need to have it equipped in your offhand, and this can be done by having your monk dual wield some light weapons and then drag the shield that another character has equipped over to your monk's offhand. This will place the mace into their offhand. Then go to your other character and empty their main hand slot, and then click the empty slot and select the weapon that is currently in your monk's main hand. You'll now have the Adamantine Mace just in your monk's offhand, and then your monk is going to reap all the benefits ignoring bludgeoning resistance. And to get this mace, all you have to do is find the mold next to the Adamantine Forge waypoint, throw in some mithril, and it's all yours. And next up is a secret trader in Wyrm's Rock Fortress that most players miss. This trader will not trade with you unless you pass a dialogue check, and this trader's name is Arglia Oloril, the Flaming Fist Quartermaster. She insists that this is an armory, she says, and she's not a shopkeeper, and that these are for the Flaming Fist only. But passing the dialogue check will allow you to access the armory's goods, and while there isn't really any noteworthy equipment or weapons, they do have a very nice selection of arrows that will come in handy later on. Not only that, but by shopping here, you'll also be awarded with a point of inspiration and 340 XP for anyone in your party with a charlatan background, which Astarion has, which is called Nothing's Not for Sale. And next up are the secret messenger rats. 3 of these are super rare, hidden in an insanely obscure place, and are only there if you save the night song in Act 2. These secret messenger rats will actually convey clues to major quests in Act 3 for you if you have Speak with Animals on when you talk to them. One rat will say gnomes in the sea, hinting at the Gondian prisoners within the Iron Throne. Another rat will say the blushing mermaid stinks of something fey, hinting at the presence of a green hag. And another will say there's been killings in a holy place, conveying news of Father Lorgan's murder. And the last one will say creeps in cloaks creeping in the sewers, hinting at the Ballist's hideout. And these 3 rats can be found in the basement of Jaheira's house, known as Elarathan's home, if the night song was spared in Act 2. And the 4th can be found down by the river, right beside the Baldur's Gate waypoint. And next up is a new trader trick in patch 7, and shout out to Morgana, who I learned this from. To do this trick, you'll need to have 2 containers and a corpse of a creature that won't count as stealing by looting it. So I chose the addled frog because it's light and easy to carry around, and also because I can't loot rats for some reason. So stand next to a trader, drop the corpse on the ground, and then click loot on the corpse of your chosen creature, and then talk to the trader to start trading. Sell them a container, and then open it, and then immediately you'll see the corpse's loot box open at the same time. Put all the stuff you want into the container you just sold them, then drag all that stuff into the loot box of the corpse. From there, close out of the trade window and drag all the stuff from the corpse onto the icon of your other container, and all the stuff is yours. It's visually very buggy. I thought I was duping items, but unfortunately it's just a single copy of each item, despite it looking like copies, but a very effective trader trick if you can get yourself on a lightweight corpse that won't cause aggro by looting it. And next up is Olam, an Aasimar just like Dame Aelin that can be found in the House of Healing morgue. Now, we can learn from a journal beside Olam's corpse that he was attempting to lift the shadow curse until he eventually succumbed to it, and we can only find what remains of him. By reading his journal, you'll get inspiration if you have an acolyte background, which Shadowheart has, but more interestingly, despite Olam being an Aasimar, he has no wings on his corpse. And while it is not possible to confirm it, it is possible that Balthazar found Olam's corpse and removed the wings from it, giving them to Fist Marcus. Now, if you remember Fist Marcus, he attacks Last Light and trying to kidnap Isabel in return for his wings. That's pretty much why he joined the Absolute. Now, there is actually a note you can find called A Little Gift on the 2nd floor of Moonrise Towers, written by Balthazar, explaining to Fist Marcus how rare those appendages are and how he should make good use of them. This nearly confirms that they are Aasimar wings, and since Olam is missing his, it is likely that he is the source of Fist Marcus's wings. And next up is how to have near infinite actions. Did you know that if you die and come back to life during your same turn from either Death Ward or similar effect, all of your actions are restored? So if you use a Potion of Speed, Elixir of Bloodlust, Action Surge, and even Martial Exertion, you'll have 4 actions, and if you have improved extra attack from being a level 11 fighter, which grants 2 extra attacks after attacking with your main hand weapon, that's a total of 12 attacks, and you can refresh all 12 during your turn by dying. Use the Gloves of Martial Exertion or the Ritual Dagger to deal damage to yourself to finish yourself off during your turn, or you can try to trigger opportunity attacks or just have a teammate bonk you on the head if all else fails. Of course, you'll need to make sure your character is very low health for this to work, so I usually down them and then just use help to get them sitting at a nice 1 health point, and then use this method and you can get your 12 attacks in, rinse and repeat for as many death wards as you have stacked with things like Blood of Lathander, Survival Instincts, or even the Ring After Death Do Us Part for near infinite actions. And it's important to mention this doesn't work unless you have at least one other party member who shares a turn with you, so you can switch back to your ally that was just resurrected. Otherwise, if you don't, when you die, you actually pass turn to your enemy, which will negate this entire trick. And next up is a hidden reward you can earn in the Elfsong Tavern, but only if you are a certain class. Now, Des Cremshaw in the Elfsong Tavern is a farmer who has run out of luck and is looking to find work for his family and himself. Now, most of the options lead nowhere that you can suggest to him, and the conversation doesn't end with any reward. But if your dialogue character is at least 1 level in Rogue, you'll have a special dialogue option recommending that his son join the Thieves Guild. And by choosing this dialogue option while having at least 1 party member with a criminal background, you'll be awarded with 440 XP and an inspiration point called Next Generation of Pockets. And next up is using Heat Metal on Grym. Heat Metal is a level 2 transmutation spell that deals fire damage and causes the target to drop their weapon or receive disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. If the target is only wearing armor, it will always receive disadvantage, and the spell is learned by level 3 bards and druids. However, what if we cast this on Grym? I see tons of comments, people saying that Heat Metal on Grym will cause Grym to get the condition called Superheated. So we're going to put this to the test. Superheated makes Grym vulnerable to bludgeoning damage and is typically obtained by having Grym walk on lava. But again, users claim that Heat Metal works to give it the very same condition. Well, I put it to the test, and actually Heat Metal does not cause Superheated. In fact, it does 0 damage to Grym. It does not apply Superheated, but it does apply the Heat Metal condition. So it does give Grym disadvantage like it should. So it's not totally useless, but if you want the Superheated condition, you can only give Grym that condition from the lava. And next up is a hidden interaction with Laura and Vanra in a playthrough where you defeat the hag in Act 1. These two become victims in Act 3. Vanra is kidnapped and consumed by the green hag and is slowly becoming a hag herself. Laura is pleading with the Flaming Fist to investigate her disappearance with no luck because the Flaming Fist appear to be under some sort of fey spell. However, if you never defeat the hag in Act 1, then Laura and Vanra's lives are totally different. If you enter their house, Vanra will say you look weird and even accuses you of being weird. Laura says you must not have any social graces, walking into people's homes uninvited, and asks you to find the door if you can manage. This is a totally different reaction to your presence than if her child was abducted by the green hag. And next up is a hidden reward for obtaining a set of 4 weapons. In Act 2, within the House of Healing, there are 4 sisters helping Malice Thorm operate on a patient. Once you defeat all of them, you'll find that each sister is holding a different uncommon weapon, medical tools. If you loot each of these 4 uncommon tools, the syringe, the artificial leech, the trepan, and the bone saw, upon looting the last of the 4 weapons, you'll instantly earn 150 XP and an inspiration point called Right Tool for the Job for anyone in your party with a criminal background. And next up is a hidden reward you can earn from Thisobald. You can encounter Thisobald Thorm within the waning moon just outside of Moonrise Towers. Thisobald will tell you to drink, and if you select the sleight of hand dialogue option at least twice during dialogue, you'll receive an award at the end of the conversation. Now, an easy way to pass sleight of hand checks very easily is by wearing a couple of pieces of equipment you can actually get in Act 1. Now, the Graceful Cloth grants +2 dexterity and grants advantage on dexterity checks, which includes sleight of hand, and it can be purchased off Lady Esther in the Mountain Pass. You can also get the Smuggler's Ring, which can be found on a skeleton on the lower part of the Risen Road as you head towards where you first find Karlach. At the end of dialogue with Thisobald, you'll be awarded with Tricks of the trade, an inspiration point if you have a charlatan background, which Astarion has. And next up is a hidden interaction with Tara. Tara is Gale's pet Tressym. Now, if you're playing a Gale Origin playthrough, you'll encounter Tara in Act 1. Otherwise, you can find Tara in Act 3. But during a Gale Origin playthrough, if you pursue the Crown of Karsus and eventually ascend to godhood, during the prologue, you can actually get the option to shave Tara, turning her into a furless Tressym. Now, this interaction is so rare that out of the 3.3 million players killing the Netherbrain, only 2,000 players chose to shave Tara. Now, maybe there were a handful of players that had the option but chose not to, but even still, this ranks up there in terms of one of the rarest interactions in Baldur's Gate 3. And next up is the secret Panoply of Agony. Now, by obtaining all 13 different sources of damage, bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, cold, fire, lightning, thunder, acid, poison, radiant, necrotic, force, and psychic, and then landing a killing blow with each of them during a Dark Urge playthrough, you will be awarded with the Panoply of Agony. This is an inspiration point. Now, to get this, I recommend buying scrolls for types of damage that you might not have readily available. Sorcerer's Sundries has a huge selection to pick up each damage type, and the cranium rats, or even the rats in the basement of the Elfsong Tavern, work great as target practice to easily pick up this awesome inspiration point because they have such low HP and it's very easy to get that killing blow during a Dark Urge playthrough. And next up is a hidden reward you can earn within the Hag's Lair. When you encounter the gnarled door in the entrance gallery, you'll notice there are 4 masks laying on the table called Whispering Masks. These masks will periodically cast ephemeral whispers on you, attempting to charm whoever wears them, bending their mind to the will of the Green Hag. But if you cast Protection from Evil and Good on your character before putting on the mask, even if you fail the saving throw against ephemeral whispers, you cannot be charmed. This allows you to walk past and keep alive the other victims who are wearing the Whispering Masks without slaying them, allowing you to even talk to them and even freeing them from the Green Hag without killing them. But you can also get inspiration called One of Us by peacefully bypassing the Hag's thralls if you have a charlatan background, which Astarion has.